All right, we are at our time. So if you didn't get it all, don't worry about it. We're gonna review it right now. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask at any time. Um, number one, running. How do we say running in Samoan? You can just blurt it out.
Lo'o tamoi.
Olo'o tamoe. Yep. Olo'o tamoe. Olo'o tamoe. Okay, so all we're doing here, and this is really one of the small things that I didn't realize why I couldn't learn the language is because okay, the word run or the verb to run is tamoe, right? But then if we're going to say running or ran or all of that, running, ran, has run, if we put it in different tenses, sometimes in the English language it's just all put together. But in the Samoan language, it's always going to be separate. It's all well, almost always separate. Okay, so for example, running, olo'o is that's our future tense. I'm sorry, that's our present tense marker, which means it's happening right now. Present tense marker happening right now. So olo'o tamoe, olo'o tamoe. Okay, so running. So that's that's all it is to that one. Okay, does anyone have any questions? And I wrote in while you guys are working, I said, if you get stuck, think tense and then action. Okay, tense action. And I think I also said subject because we're also talking about some of those in here as well. So tense action and then the subject. So that's a common sentence structure for people that speak Samoan. Okay, so awesome. So olo tamoe, olo tamoe. All right. Has walked. How do we say that? How do we say that one?
Oh, Savali?
Or savali. Yep. Simple as that. Yep. Or savali. Okay. So savali is to walk. Savali is to walk. But then the ua is like it's a present tense marker, but we're updating somebody. So for example, if someone says, what happened to Ernest? Where's Ernie at? And then I said, ua savali Ernie or Ernest. Like he has walked. Ernest has walked. So has walked. Okay, so it's although it's present tense, um, although I'm sorry, although the action has happened already, I'm updating you, the person that asked me on what happened. So ua savali. Okay, so we'll think, mafafau, mafafau. So we'll think. How do we say that one?
Ole mafafao.
Yeah, ole a mafafau. Yep, ole a ma foul foul. So again, all we're doing is we're just putting the tense before the action. Tense, then the action. Okay, awesome. That's all it is. And if you just do as many of these as you can when you're practicing on, by yourself, and that's what I did. So what I did was I learned as many actions: walk, talk, speak, think, you know, anything, and then I came back and put them with a different tense. Has walked, was walking, will walk, and until I just got fluent with the tenses with the actions because we don't do this in English. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, we don't do that. So we don't think in this way. So the main thing of the repetition is to get into that Samoan frame of mind where you're separating the action and the tense. Olo'o, tamoe, ua, savali, ole'a mafafau. Sorry about that. And okay, and then the next one, he believes. This is along those same lines. So what's this one?
Is it
So
Talitonu?
yep, talitonu. Okay, awesome. And then what's the last? So we have our tense, We have our action. What's our subject?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. Awesome. And then we're gonna talk the last part of the class is all about pronouns. So we're gonna get into this. All right. So if you don't know why it's oh yeah, we'll get to that. Someone does have a question? Okay, no. Okay, so talitonu is to believe, and then e is a present tense marker. It's just what you know, it's a present habitual thing, believes. And then who believes, who's doing the action is oia, he or him. All right. Suka was crying. How do we say this one?
Satangi suka.
Satangi suka. Yep. Satangi. Simple as that. Well, I won't say not simple as that, but tense, action, subject. Tense, action, subject. Okay. So our tense is past tense. All right. And then the action is tangi or to cry. So tangi is to cry. And then, but when we put sa and tangi together, we're going in the past, but the action, it may or may not be complete. So when the action isn't complete, people will say sa tangi, like was crying. So I'll take you back into my story. If I'm telling you a story and I would say, man, at that time I was crying, or another example I like to use, like if the police was like, where were you at 4 o'clock? And at that particular time, I was crying. I didn't have time to commit the crime. I was crying at that time. Like I was at home, I was crying. So that's what I was doing at that time. The action wasn't completed, if that makes any sense. But if I had already by 4 o'clock, I was already done crying, maybe I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave the house and I'm gonna go commit the crime at 4 o'clock. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's um sa is like the olo'o of the past. That's another way to put it. So olo'o, the action is still going on, like running. Okay. So if I say Suko was crying, then that's another ing type of thing, but it's in the past. All right. So was crying. So Suko was crying, Satangi Suka. But you're gonna hear people interchange na and sa all the time. So you just kind of have to listen for the context. We're not at that level yet, but I just want you guys to know there's a difference between na and sa. All right. The father heard. The father heard. How do we say that one?
Sa fa'alongo le tama.
Ah, oops. Alongo le tama. Okay. I don't know how to put the mouth over the A when I'm in real time. So yep. So people are gonna say that. Another way to say, how would we say this if this is gonna be a na? Well, actually I just said it. So if the action is over and done, then you might hear like na fa'alongo, or you might even hear na fa'alongoina. So that's and we kind of talked about that in the last class. I don't want to get into that too much right now because it might confuse some people. We're adding the suffix because the action is over and done, and yeah, it might be too much to say right now. So na fa'alongo. Let me take that off. Na fa'alongo le tama. So the father. I'm sorry. Na fa'alongo le tama. So the father heard. More than likely, you probably hear na fa'alongoina. We'll come back to that. Like I said, we have a whole lesson on this. I probably shouldn't even put that one in there. But so I'm not sure which person said that, but he says sa. So you're gonna hear na and sa interchange all the time, which is what I said before. But in this case, I was trying to make a distinction between, like up here, Suko was crying. It's in the past, right? but the action was still going on the way that I said it, so it would be sa. But if I said the father heard, the action is over and done. Okay, so that's really the difference between na and sa. Here, the action is over and done. Na fa'alongoina the tama, as opposed to, okay, I take you back in time and I'm telling you the story and it's still going on. Suko was crying at that time. At that particular time, Suko was crying. Sa tangi suka. Okay. Anyone have any questions on that? Okay. If you have one, it may come up in our next lesson because that's the one where we're really gonna break down na and sa and things like that. How about a Samoan girl will win? A Samoan girl will win. How do we say that one?
Olea manmalo se tene Samoa.
Ole a manumalo se tene Samoa. Awesome. Awesome. So, and let's break it down piece by piece. So again, we have our tense. Okay, our tense is a future tense, ole a, and then our action is going to be manumalo, that's our action or verb, if that's the easier way for you to remember. And then remember, the whole week one, we talked about how to do subject phrases. So se tene Samoa means a Samoan girl. Okay, all of this would be the subject. So ole a manumalo se tene Samoa. Ole a manumalo se tene Samoa. So yeah, that's all it is to it. So that's our tense, future tense. Our verb or our action is going to be manumalo, and then who did it? Osetene Samoa. And remember, we dropped the O. We don't have to say Osetene Samoa because the O is a tense marker for the subject. But since we already have a tense marker, what is our tense marker? Ole a. Okay, so when we put it all together, ole a manumalo setene Samoa. All right. Okay. I know I took a little extra longer on for that, but that's only because this is the part that really throws people off. So I want to make sure everyone gets it. And not everybody asks questions, so I want to make sure everybody gets it. So just a review again, just kind of rubbing it over. Tense, that it's going to let us know whether it's past, present, or the future. In this case, ole a, that's the future tense marker. Our action is savali, which is to walk. Okay. And when you combine it together, that's going to say will walk because it's the future. In the future, walk, will walk. And then who's going to do it? The tainment. Okay. The subject phrase by itself, just breaking it down one more time, is oletainment. But remember this right here, this O, that's, if I were to ask you, what is that? I would say it is the girl. Okay, it presently is the girl. So that's our tense marker for the subject. But we don't need a tense marker for the subject because we already have a tense marker up here. That's our tense. So will, whatever the action is going to happen. For the savali letene, will walk the girl. So that's why we dropped the O. All right. The next slide is going to be, it's the same thing, but we're talking about a pronoun. So our pronoun is a'u. Okay. If I were to say I by myself or me, I would say o'a'u. Like who did this or who did that? I would say o'a'u. I did it. But in this case, I'm going to drop the O. I don't have to say o'a'u because I already have ole'a. Ole'a savalia'u. Okay. So I will walk. I will walk. Some people, I've heard people include the O in that as well. But a lot of times, with the subject and these pronouns, they get dropped. Okay. So a common question is like, well, if you can say the pronoun like a'u after the action and before the action, then what's the difference? What's the difference between saying the pronoun before the action and after the action? And I'll just write this for right now. The pronoun before the action, if I wanted to say I will walk, I could say ole a o savali. I could say that. Ole a o savali. I wouldn't say that because you're saying it twice. Ole a o savali. Or I could say ole a savali. So what's the difference between ole a o savali and ole a savali? The difference is the one that comes after, which is oa'u, or I'm sorry, a'u. This emphasizes the doer. So if I wanted to, let's just say you kept asking me over and over and over, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And so the first couple of times I said, ole a o savali, I will walk, I will walk. But then if I really wanted to emphasize that I'm going to walk, then I would say it like this. I'll say ole a savalia'u. So that is the purpose of the saying the pronoun afterwards. Okay. Now I'll leave that part. So here are the pronouns that go after the action. Okay, again, there's a way to say a pronoun before the action and a way to say it after. And I want to make sure everybody understands this because this throws people off. The way to say I after an action, any action, it doesn't matter. You're going to say a'u. You'll say oi. You'll say ia. Ita'ua. Ima'ua. Olua. Ila'ua. Itato, imato, oto, ilato. So make note of these. I'll also post these on the website as well. When it says standalone pronouns, if someone were to say like, who did this? And I were to say, I did it. There's nothing else connected to the sentence. Like there's no tense, there's no action before the subject. Here's our subject right here. Okay, by itself, it would just be oa'u. Okay, so but remember when we put it together with the tense and the action, we're gonna drop the O and just say a'u. All right, so that goes for all of these except for we hate exceptions. A lot of times you'll hear when people say he did it or she did it, even after tense action, you'll probably still hear oia. And we have an example of that, so I'll get to that in just a moment. Okay, so let's get to our examples before people get confused. Na talanoa letama maletene. Does anyone know what this says right here? So it's the past tense. Talanoa letama maletene.
The boy was talking to the girl.
Yep, the boy was talking to the girl. That's one way to translate it. Remember, translation can be many kind of ways. Another way, like if you really wanted to go like boom, 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 it would be the boy and the girl spoke or had a conversation. The boy and the girl talked. The boy and the girl spoke. And it's exactly what you said as well. And I forgot. I'm sorry about that, but that's all it is. So you can start this way with the subjects, the boy and the girl, and then you could say na talanoa. Talanoa is to speak or to have a conversation. Spoke is past tense. Past tense spoke. So the boy and the girl spoke. Okay, so that's one way to say it. All right. This is also a review as well. So someone asked about the e. So if I say na tusia and then le tama, le pepa, a lot of people would say it like that, but And here we're going to write every single thing out. So we say natusia eletama lepepa. And the reason why we say letama is because this is the doer of the action. This who did the action. So letama is the one that natusia. Okay, what's natusia mean?
Wrote or rate.
Right. So
Wrote on
tusi,
paper.
yeah, everything you said, every single thing you said is correct. So tusi is to write. Past tense, write is natusia. So wrote. So natusia is wrote. And then we have two subjects. We have letama, the boy, and we have the paper. Did the paper write the boy or the boy write the paper? So we know that just from common sense, we know that the boy is the one that wrote the paper. So we mark the doer of the action with the e. So when you, especially like when you read like the Tusipaia, the Samoan translated Bible, you'll see a lot of this right here because what it's doing is there's more than one subject. Okay, there's a subject here, there's a subject there, and we want to know who did the actual action. The doer of the action is marked with the e. Okay, so natusia eletama lepepa. Okay. And then because it's marked with the e, we can switch it around. We don't have to say natusia eletama lepepa. We can take the eletama and we can switch it, take this subject and switch it over with that subject. And we can say natusia lepepa eletama. It's just there's I don't know, and I know the next logical question is, well, why would you say this or why would you say that? It's just preference, I guess. But we know who did it because of the e. That's how we know who did it. Okay. Now here's the common question everybody asks. So we're gonna spend the last 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes on this. Lau, lo'u, lao, lo, lana, lona, and all of the ones after that. People always want to know what what's the difference is. In the Samoan language, we don't do this in English at all. So this is why we're gonna spend so much time on it. We have O class things, possessions, okay, and we also have A class possessions. O class possessions are things just revere them. These are things that are over and above you. These are things that are out of your control. These are things that are revered. For example, your relatives, your parents, your grandparents. So these are people that are revered. They are out of your control. You didn't pick them. Your siblings, your brothers, your sisters, you don't pick them. They just you're given to them. Your cousins, all of that. Your family. So your families are almost always going to be O class when people are referring to them. Things that provide and protect, like your house, like when you say fale, I wouldn't say like you know, la, well, I won't get into that part. Your houses, it covers and protects you. Even an umbrella, which is something that, you put the umbrella up, it's an O class thing. And we'll talk about that in a second. Um, Regardless of, religion and all that kind of stuff, when you talk about God in the Samoan language, it's always O class because it gets respect. Land provides for you. It reciprocates resources and money, things like that. So it's also O class. Your body parts, all of your body parts, everything. Lo fofonga, lo lima, lo vai, every body part is going to be O class. Okay. Irreplaceable things. Things that you know I can't think of that word, but things that are irreplaceable, things and situations that are out of your control. So here's a word, and this might help you get a deeper understanding. I like this example. So there's la utala. Okay, so that's A class because we have la'u, and then someone says lo'u tala. So the difference between la'u tala, okay, A class, and lo'u tala is O class. O class is something that's out of my control. Maybe I turn on the TV and somebody is talking about me. What is that? TMZ or something like that, and they're saying all of these things about me. That's out of my control. It's a story about me. It's my story because lo'u means my, but it's out of my control. Like I'm just watching the story like you guys. I don't know what they're gonna say next, right? So that's lo'u tala. If I wanted to say the full Samoan phrase, I would say Olo Utala. So it's my story, but I don't know. I'm sitting here with you guys looking at it just like you. But Ola Utala. So this is my story. I'm telling it out of my mouth. I have control of it. What is that word? Oh, I have authority over it. I have the authority over this story. So I control this story right here. So it's beneath me, it's under me. So I'm able to manipulate it however I want. I can tell you guys whatever. Ola utala. So that's the difference between this kind of story, my story, and my story right here. All right. TMZ did this one. Ola utala. I said this one. Ola utala. So people interchange these a lot as well, in conversational Samoan. But that would be the difference. I have control over this one. I don't have control over that one. Subject has subservient position. We kind of talked about that already. Okay, so the next thing, A class. Okay, A class, like your friendships, your relationships, your boo, o la upele. And you probably hear a lot of songs like that, la upele. You pick that boy, you pick that girl, that's you pick that person. So you had the authority over that relationship. Okay, you had the authority over that friendship. All your friends, uo is a friend. I don't know if that looks like friend, but uo is friend. Okay, um your boo, sunga, whatever you want to say about that person, you pick them. Nobody picked that person for you. It's A class, la upele. So that's why a lot of the songs are gonna be like they'll use an A class sort of thing. Situations and things that you have control over. Your pets. So olau, what's a pet? Everyone has well, not everyone. A lot of people have a dog, Miley. So ola Miley. So you're over your dog. So you would probably more than likely use like a class for that. Your stories. We just talked about this one. If you have control over your story, which is gonna be tala, then you would say ola utala. Ola utala. Now, if you in a lot of poems and stuff like that, and a lot of songs, if I wanted to say, I had no control over you. I came, I met you. I had, God picked you for me. I had no choice over this. Then you could play with your words, and then you could say something like, olo'u, olo'u. Anyone know the word for love or? Oh, here we go. Okay.
Inalofa.
Yeah, yep. Alofa. There we go. Or yep, or I could say, or if I wanted to say, my friend, you're a friend of mine that I didn't pick. So when you listen to songs and things like that, and they play with the Samoan songs and they play with the A and the O class, that's the difference between them. So technically, a friend, you pick your friends. But if I wanted to say, oh, you're a friend that God picked for me. If you wanted to put more reverence on it, more love on it, or whatever, you would use an O class sort of thing. So that's what the difference is. So a lot, all the way growing up, I didn't know those slight contextual differences, and that's the difference between A class and O class. It's small, but it's powerful. Replaceable things, anything that you can replace, my computer, my couch, um people use furniture interchangeably, A class, O class, but really anything that you can replace is going to be A class, okay? Or anybody that you have authority over. So even your children, your workers, if you're let's say you're a teacher over your class, things like that, it could also be considered A class as well. Okay. Well, let me move a little bit faster. Okay, so people always want to know how do we break it down? This is how we break it down. Singular and specific is L. Okay. Singular and specific is L. Like le. So remember the limiter le means like the, singular and specific. Se is going to be singular and non-specific. So if I say ose pepe, I don't know who the baby that is. It's a baby. Ose pepe. It's a baby. I don't know, but it's one baby of somebody's. So that's that one. If it's some babies, okay, it's still non-specific. I don't know who babies, where those babies came from, but it's some babies. It's some of them, plural. So it's some babies. So we're gonna say ni. And if it's a specific set of babies, I'll just say opepe. So the babies are specific. So, but if I want to say a singular and specific baby of mine, I'm going to say singular specific L. A baby, I have authority over my baby, so it's going to be A. The pronoun for that is going to be taofi with the U. So that's how it goes. Lau. Okay. Or you could just remember the word lau. Even a lot of Samoan speakers don't even know this right here. So, but this is the breakdown of it. So singular specific, A class possession of mine, lau. Singular specific, if we're still talking about a baby, my baby, or I'm sorry, we're still talking about a baby. A baby is an A class possession because this person has the authority over it. And then you with no taofi, that's going to be your lao or lao pepe. Singular possession is A class, and then it belongs to him, her, or it. So that's going to be lana. Hopefully everybody sees that. So my, your, him, her, or its. Okay. No questions? All right. And then we have, these are plural dual pronouns. So we don't do this in English as well. So for two people, ma means two, exclusive. So let's just say there's three people in a conversation. All right. And then I say ma, I'm excluding the person that I'm talking to because I'm talking about it's just us two. Or maybe I'm talking about me and the person I'm speaking to, and I'm excluding somebody. Somebody is excluded with ma. Okay. Ta is gonna be there's only two people in the conversation. Everybody is included. So ta, us two. Lua, talking about you too. That's a pronoun that means you too. La is gonna be them two. All right. But when we add okay, if we say le, so if I say le ma, and then I put a noun behind it, this is gonna be le ma. It's gonna be our. Actually, I'll leave it at that for now. That means our. Oh, I probably should skip. I'm gonna go right down to this because this will make more sense. Okay, so we're talking about dual pronouns. So if I were to go like this, if I say le, so we have a singular pronoun. There's two people that we're talking about. So if I exclude, that's going to be ours. Okay, so if we're talking about a car, I would say o le ma, and then ta'avale. If I say o le ma ta'avale, I'm saying our car that belongs to us. Okay, not you. So if let's just, for example, if I'm speaking to Tawana, and if I say Olema Ta'avale, so it's a car that belongs to me and KC, but not you. You see what I'm saying? So I'm excluding somebody. If I were to say Oleta Ta'avale, it can only be two people in the conversation because it's a dual pronoun. So it's let me go down here. So in this ole ta ta'avale. Okay, so we have our O noun tense marker. Le is a singular and specific. Ta, and then we're talking about a ta'avale. So it's our car, our singular and specific car. If I say ole lua, it's your two car. So maybe if I'm talking about a married couple or something like that, I'm saying, yeah, ole lua kavale. Like it's your two cars. If I say their two cars, I'm gonna say ole la ta'avale. Ole la ta'avale. Does everyone understand that? Okay. And then when we get to three or more people, if I'm gonna say mato is three or more people. So if I were to say it's our car, I would say o le mato ta'avale. So it's our car that belongs to three or more of us, okay, but not you. So let's just say I'm having a conversation with I don't know how to, okay, Jason. So I'm having a conversation with Jason. I'm excluding Jason. I'm saying, yeah, olemato ta'avale, olemako kavale. So I'm saying it's our car. I'm letting him know it's not your car. Like it's our car. It's me and 22 other people's car, not yours. So I would say olemato ta'avale. Okay, so I'm excluding him. If I were to say oletato ta'avale, and I'm talking to Jason, I'm saying it's all of our car, even your car. It's 22, it's an Uber or something. I don't know. All of us are going to use this car. Or the tavale. Nobody is excluded from the conversation. I'm speaking to you. This is everybody's car if you want to use it. If I were to say oleto or oto tavale, then I'm saying it's all of you guys' car. Everyone here, that's your car. And if I were to say olelato ta'avale, it's all of their cars. So it's not me, it's all of their. I'm pointing at people and I'm saying it's all of their car. All right. Okay, we talked about those already. Okay, yeah, this I know, it does get a little more, it does get a little if we were to drop the le, and this is what you're talking about, it gets a little bit more complicated. If we drop the le, now we're talking about plural cars that belong to multiple people. So all of these up here, I'm gonna use the whiteboard for a second. Up here, I was saying ole mato ta'avale. Oops. Ta'avale. I'm talking about one thing that belongs to a bunch of people. Okay. So our car, singular car. But if I'm going to talk about multiple things that belongs to multiple people, it's going to change up a little bit. So I say, oh, I'm not going to use a le because that makes it a singular thing. I'm talking about multiple things. So if I say, oh, mato ta'avale, this means our cars. Hopefully everybody sees that. All we had to do with that is just drop the le. Okay, the le makes it a singular car, the singular car of ours. This right here makes it our cars that belongs to us. Our cars. Usually everyone has questions on this. Nobody said nothing. So okay, I'll go. So all of this, if I say oh ma ta'avale, that's our cars. If I say oh ta ta'avale, our cars. If I say oh lua ta'avale, that's your cars that belongs to you too. If I say oh la ta'avale, that's their cars that belongs to that couple. Those are dual pronouns. Ma, ta, lua, and la. If I say o mato ta'avale, that's our cars. Cars of ours. If I say o tato ta'avale, same thing. Cars of ours. Okay. Oto or o oto ta'avale, those are your cars that belongs to you all. Multiple cars that belong to you guys, your franchise or whatever. O lato ta'vale. Their cars. There are multiple cars that belong to all of them. Okay. We'll stop there. I feel like I'm confusing people. Because everyone got quiet. But does anyone have any questions at this point? But let me see. Yeah, it's so all of this stuff here is we don't do it in English at all, and that's why a lot of people just get lost around this time. So usually people fall off in like week 4 and 5 because we get to this point. We're already here in week 3. Um so hopefully everybody doesn't get lost here. So but really you could just learn Lau. What's the difference between Lau and Lau? So Lau is my, Lau is your. What's the difference between Le Mato and Le Tato? Um, learn the difference between that. A lot of Samoan speakers, they don't even know, like they just they memorize the word Lau, Lo'u, Lana, Lona. They know that. Okay, Tawana. Um, okay, great. Yeah, we're gonna do our speaking exercises. I wanted to at least get this part because now we could say, if we say manuia leaso, we got our tense, we have our action, which would be manuia, and then what's our subject? Tense, action, subject is gonna be leaso, manuia leaso. So we're gonna open up, instead of having a quiz, we're just gonna start speaking on next week, which is going to be like the 18th or something like that. So Tuesday when we meet, Wednesday if you're in Samoa, Australia, New Zealand, we're just going to open up speaking and doing our exercises like that. So someone oh no, yeah, so yeah, you can hang around. It's okay. So after I release class, just hang around and we could talk about whatever you want. That's yeah, anytime. Yeah, Sunday we're gonna have if you're here, I usually log in at It's 1 o'clock my time, so 11 o'clock California time. I stay on for like 5 minutes. If nobody's here, I just log out. Yep. Okay, so if nothing else, then I'll see you guys on next week. Or if you want to show up on Sunday, I'll be here Sunday, 11 a.m. California time. I'll upload these slides, everything, and as well as the video. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing. Like I said, this is the week where people are like, I'm out of here. So if you hang around after this week and get so far we did tense, action, subject. Next we're gonna move on to location. The location phrase like na yaluile fale oloa or wherever to a location. We're gonna go to a location. And then once you're able to put together whole sentences, all of this stuff becomes much easier than that. Talofa. All right, so if nothing else, I'll see you guys later. Pastor Fua. Oh, thank you, Pop. Okay.